We're going to talk now to Conservative MP Andrew Bridgen for North West Leicestershire. And Andrew, you're a committed Brexiteer. Obviously, the government's determined to get the deal through today. Do you think they have got the votes? They insist that they have, if the Speaker lets the vote go ahead.
I think it'd be very, very close. I'd hope that Boris Johnson has now got the majority of the House willing to support his New Deal. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if the Speaker doesn't allow a meaningful vote today. That will be completely consistent with the stance the Speaker's taken throughout these Brexit negotiations.
Well, he would say, of course, that it was procedural, that it was bringing back a piece of legislation that was in the House on Saturday.
I seem to remember we did vote 3 times on Theresa May's withdrawal agreement, though. And we actually didn't have the vote on Saturday. It was supposed to be Super Saturday. It was superfluous Saturday in the end, thanks to the Letwin amendment.
Obviously, in the case of the May vote, I mean, he's not here, the Speaker, but he would be saying that the legislation was revised in between. But going to what happens next, if indeed he does, as you suspect, we then move on to the implementation legislation. Now, there are lots of talks of amendments in the air. Are there any of them that you would accept in the hope of getting it through?
No, not at all. And the reason that the Letwin amendment was a wrecking amendment is that if we can get the meaningful vote through, then we have a treaty to attach to the withdrawal agreement bill, which makes it much harder for people to put, more difficult for them to put amendments to. Whereas if the legislation comes on its own without a treaty being agreed by the House of Commons, it's open season. So we're going to see calls for customs unions, which we've debated in the last session of Parliament, probably almost certainly a second referendum. And also this will take up a lot of debating time as well, which I don't doubt that the Speaker will completely indulge the Remain alliance.
And yet, if the boot was on the other foot, I mean, you would want to be sure that the things that are important to you, that your red lines are in there. And as you know, Oliver Letwin has said repeatedly that what is important to him is avoiding a no deal, even by accident, on October the 31st.
Well, those who don't want Brexit to happen have often hidden behind the Trojan horse of stopping no deal, when actually what they really want to do, a large number of them, is actually stop Brexit altogether.
Some of them have voted for the deal at the same time, or said that they would vote for the deal at the same time as saying they want to be very clear about avoiding no deal.
Well, let's get on and vote for it. Some of them have changed their minds. They actually voted for Theresa May's deal and now want to rule out no deal for this piece of legislation. The answer is the country's absolutely tired to death of this. They want to move on. Our democracy's at breaking point. I think our country's at breaking point. We want to get this deal across the line. It's a tolerable deal for the ERG. It has the support, tentatively, of the ERG. It's not everything we want. And 90% of the withdrawal agreement is exactly the same as Theresa May's withdrawal agreement. So we shouldn't need the amount of time. We've debated that for months and months and months.
And yet, do you see the force of the argument, let us take this back to the people? It was there in 2016, 2019, 2020. We could take it back at the end of the day. Got the deal now. It's not going off a cliff. It's something you can live with. Let's take it back to the people and get their final say-so.
Well, if Parliament, the Remain-dominated Parliament, hadn't taken no deal off the table, I think Boris Johnson could have got an even better deal out of the European Union. But if we have a second referendum without implementing the will expressed at the first referendum, that will undermine every single simple majority vote we ever have in our democracy. It'd be a retrograde step, and I think, quite honestly, it'll reopen wounds. We're a very divided society. It'll reopen wounds that have not healed since 2016, and we won't be able to move forward. Also, I think the European Union have completely lost patience with all of this, and I think they want us to get on and get leaving as well.
Andrew Bridgen, thank you
very
so much.